GST reforms to boost the Big Billion Day 2025. In fact, talking exclusively to ET now, Flipkart top management says there has been a 21% growth in user visits during BBD 2025. This is versus BBD 2024. Listen in to an excerpt with that exclusive conversation with Pratik Shetty, VP Growth and Marketing, Flipkart.
We expect demand to be very strong in certain categories like appliances, even in categories like beauty, personal care and fashion, which are going to see a flip because of the GST benefits. And even early trends for us suggest that benefit rolling out. What we have also done is we have integrated GST 2.0 in most of our consumer out communication. Even on platform, what we have tried to do is we have tried to integrate GST across the platform. We've created a specific store which says these are the products which are available with GST benefit. And we've seen that play out both in terms of searches before we went live with the sales. So categories like appliances saw a big surge in searches. Of course, that didn't translate into conversions before, but as soon as we hit 22nd September and our sale went live, we've actually seen categories like appliances grow really, really fast. So yeah, so we're seeing the benefits of GST roll out there.
Right, Pratik. In fact, how much has the average order value been and how much has it changed versus last year?
More than average order value, what I can give you is that in terms of purely people coming on the platform, we've seen about 20% increase in visits to the platform, which is very, very healthy for us. This is translated into similar numbers for organic visits on the platform for us, which is also an indicator of good consumer intent, right? In terms of average order value, what I would say is that average order value is also dependent on which categories tend to sell more. We've seen our strong categories like mobile continue to be strong, which is with a great momentum that we've seen year on year on mobiles. Even categories like appliances, as I said, both in terms of the sheer demand that was there for the category as well as the GST benefits which have rolled out, appliances actually is turning out to be one of our fastest growing categories during this season. If these two categories along with electronics, they tend to grow fast and faster than the platform, your average order value tends to go up.
Right, so definitely average order value, in fact, Pratik, that has gone up. But how much of this momentum, you just mentioned about, in at least both of these categories, the shopping momentum that's being seen, that could be contributed to GST rate rationalization exercise. But in terms of, documenting a change on a year-on-year basis, what kind of a change are you seeing, not just in the electronics categories, but other categories as well? And how does that change then growth projections that Flipkart has for this fiscal?
I think our growth trajectory has been healthy for the entire year. So what we've seen is in terms of pure organic visits coming to the platform, customer growth, it has actually grown month on month. And since July, actually, there has been a step change, both in terms of customer acquisition for us, customer growth and unit growth. It has actually seen a step change since July.
All right, let's keep our focus on what the immediate impact of GST rate cuts have been like, because we're clearly also in the thick of the festive season, and we had the opportunity to catch up with CFO of IKEA, Murli Iyer, on their preparedness to cater to festive customers. Let's listen in to the new additions and, of course, expansion plans.
We have a good range of articles that are going to benefit out of this. And you will see them when you walk into the store or you see it on the e-commerce platform. And we strongly believe that there will be a strong uptick in consumption, not only in that, but also sometimes in other areas that get enabled because of that as well. So we're very bullish and strongly believe that it's a very good enabler for growth of the country.
Right. Going forward, the festive season is coming up. So how is IKEA prepping for that? Are you looking at, expediting the delivery timelines? How exactly are you going to do that? Or new geographies that you're looking to expand to make the most out of this festive season?
Yeah. So we start with the range, because the range is in the heart of the whole thing. And you would see a lot of range if you go to the new range and festive range out there. The festive offers are on. If you walk into a store, the food is going to meet the festive palette, and we have a special menu for design for this. So overall, we are ready to meet our customers and enthrall them through festives. We also are engaged in a lot of the gifting areas. A lot of customers prefer us as an option to give gifts, and it's a season of giving, and so we are well prepared for that. And we think it's the combination of the range, the offer in terms of this festive offer, and in terms of which grows across the product, the services, everywhere. So it's well spread. It's a well spread menu for the customers to come and engage with us.
And in terms of expansions, what are the new cities that you are looking at, or even expanding in the existing cities that you have?
So we will definitely expand in the existing cities of Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Mumbai. Delhi, we are already there, and we have big plans for Delhi, and we further look forward to Pune and Chennai as well as we start to make the next steps.
All right, we also caught up with the CFO of Metro Brands about their strategy to pass on the GST cut benefits to the consumers. Let's also listen in to a slice of that conversation.
Obviously, there's no need to change the price tag. It would be an inefficient process. But starting 22nd, that's yesterday, we have already rolled out the change for the customers. So the discounts are already on. It's very well communicated on the invoice, and obviously across various medium within our stores and otherwise through digital means to our customers. So changes have already been implemented. We're not looking at changing price tags, but we are obviously making sure that wherever the GST benefit has come in, we are passing that benefit to the customer through discounts.
In terms of the larger festive season that is coming up, GST changes obviously will help in that. But overall, what kind of sales growth are you seeing just in terms of the consumer sentiment also improving? People are going to accrue more savings with the GST changes also. So are you looking at a growth higher than last year this year?
See, we have, I would avoid talking about short term, but for medium to long term, we've always guided for 15 to 18% growth in our top line. I think with all the changes that government has done, starting with tax rate reduction in last budget, RBI reducing interest rates, and now with this GST change coming in, we feel customers will be saving in their monthly budget, and I'm sure that money would come out in some sort of consumption, and obviously we feel footwear would also sort of benefit through that. So I think overall industry would gain, and we feel customer buying more would be the upside, because obviously GST reduction is passed on as discount. So that's what we sort of see. With all this change, we feel pretty confident that 15 to 18% growth that we have guided over the times, we should be able to achieve that comfortably.
All right, let's put into focus how Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman addressed the launch of Goods and Services Appellate Tribunal. The FM did say at the event that the GSTAT will likely begin hearings in December. Let's listen to this.
The limitation period for legacy appeals extends till 30th June 2026. Hearings are expected to commence by December this year. So prepare carefully, file peacefully, and take confidence in the fact that we had even enabled a staggering filing approach, about which you've just heard Justice Mishra talk in greater detail. I think this will absolutely address concerns of anybody who thinks there's going to be a rush, a stampede, systems failing, and so on. No. A good thought has been applied. They are going to be done in a staggered fashion, and therefore there need not be any rush towards or haste towards all being there at one go.
All right, considering the fact that we were, of course, talking about the immediate impact of the GST reforms, the Finance Minister also spoke about the GST Bachat Utsav and the great demand it has, of course, received just in a few days. Listen in to what she said.
So the next GST reforms or the next gen GST is actually delivering exactly that. And that the outcome of this festival season is now nationwide being referred to as GST Bachat Utsav, and across the sectors and across everyday life. Only to refer to actually what is developed in the ground after the introduction of the new GST is you saw the automobile sector reflecting this momentum. Every early report in the media pointed to the unprecedented sales and bookings in the first 2-3 days of this Bachat Utsav. This surge is actually built on a decade of steady reforms. It is just announced to be implemented from 22nd September.
All right, time for a quick break here on Business at 9. Stay with us. We're going to be right back.
Your GPS knows the roads, but not the off-roads. That's why you need grip that never quits. SEAT Cross Drive. Grip you can trust.
That's right. Data by IKEA suggests that smartphone exports for the month of August 2025 have seen an increase of 39%. Now, exports reached $1.09 billion in the month of August in 2024, while this year in August, smartphone exports reached $1.53 billion. Typically, exports to the United States, as far as the smartphone category is concerned, they dip in the months of August and September. But this year, that trend has bucked expectations. So let's take a look at the kind of numbers that we've achieved with respect to smartphone exports to the US. Well, for the first 5 months of FY26, that number stood at $8.43 billion. It's also increased. Given smartphone exports to the US in the first 5 months have reached $2.88 billion. In fact, the sector has been the best performing sector in India over the last 5 years since the launch of the PLI scheme. And it's been powered by government's initiatives like the PLI scheme, electronics manufacturing clusters, and an effort to rationalize tariffs and reduce cost disabilities. Now, this sort of momentum of smartphone exports going up is also commendable, given the fact that the kind of disruptions that we've been seeing globally on account of geopolitical tensions and tariff disruptions.
All right, let's shift our focus to the big development, given the fact that the RBI has released its September bulletin, and RBI in fact has highlighted that rural demand remains robust and sees the new GST reforms to improve the tax buoyancy, compliance and ease of doing business as well. But that's of course a little bit of what we're given to understand. But to put that into perspective and more highlights, Ankur Mishra, my colleague, joins us on the phone lines. Ankur, very good evening. Important details that have come to the forefront, more importantly the timing of this. What more can you tell us?
Yes, it is the first comment which is coming in from Reserve Bank of India, the banking regulator, regarding the recent GST reforms. And bulletin clearly mentions that GST Council's September decisions will address the inverted duty structure as well. And apart from that, it also mentions that big boost for MSMEs and startups. Now, the expectation is that the reforms are expected to improve the tax buoyancy as well as compliance and ease of doing business. Apart from that, there is a mention that equity markets have remained volatile on GST reforms. And as far as US tariffs are concerned, that yes, there is an impact on equity markets on US tariffs as well as the strong GDP data, and therefore the markets have remained volatile in the recent days. Apart from that, talking about the economy, current account deficit has moderated in Q1 FY26, and strong services exports and remittances were the reason for that. And the bulletin also touches base on rural demand, which is robust, and the higher tractor and as well as two-wheeler sales does reflect upon the same. And unemployment data is also supporting the economy currently, which has fallen to 5.1% in August, and that was led by sharp decline in urban joblessness. And more importantly, the comment on GST's decision are important because it is first time that regulator is making comments after the next gen GST reforms have been taken in. And more importantly, it is clearly saying that it will lead to lower retail prices, strengthen the consumption growth story for India.
Right, Ankur. In fact, thank you very much for joining us and putting that into perspective as well. And like rightly said, we've looked at the immediate impact for the first couple of days, at least with the GST rate cuts. But for the moment, we leave it at that. Let's shift our focus to the fact that Group Editor of Times Group, Navika Kumar, spoke to National Award winner for Best Actor this year, Vikrant Masse. Listen in to this excerpt from that interview, and I'll leave you with the same. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Whether it is a 12th fail or whether it is Balika Vadhu or whether